Episodes 9 and 10 are, we're sort of calling it a two-parter, though Wayward Sisters is more episode 10. Episode 9 builds up to it, and we see Sam and Dean in a situation where they're out of sorts and they need help. And so Jody is calling to check in or maybe tell us about a case, and she can't get a hold of us. And we're not returning her calls, and so she reaches out to her wayward daughter of sorts and says, hey, I think something's going on, Claire Novak. I think something's going on with the boys. I know you're out doing your thing, but you know, they were there for us when we needed them. I think we need to be there for them. And so we get to see, like I was saying earlier with Jack and Cass, we get to see these girls fleshed out quite a bit and see what their world is like, and the return of some characters that we introduced this season with Patience and obviously with Kaya. Yeah.
I also love the fact that it's a direct homage to the beginning of Supernatural and how it's coming together, because Jody calls Claire and says the boys have been on a hunting trip and haven't been home in a few days,
Yeah.
which is the exact same thing that Dean said to Sam in episode 1. The dad has been on it. So I love that aspect of it, that it's kind of the genesis of both of them are very similar in that aspect. Obviously the stories will be a little different, but you know, it is this gathering of characters to go and save their friends or their family, and so I think that's right then and there. That's a great kind of foundation to build stories on.
Worked for us, I guess.
It works. It's been working for us for a while.
The spin-off, are you guys anticipating maybe crossovers down the road? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, I hope to God to do it. We obviously are buddies with all the crossover gangs up here, and I think it's funny to hear him talk about the dads on a hunting trip. It actually gave me chills to hear it, because I was like, I remember reading that in the pilot, and Jared didn't know anything about Sam or hunting or whatever. But they wanted Sam to know, so remember they had to correct me a few times, be like, hey, this isn't a big surprise to you. Like, you know your dad hunts, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like, he did what? I'm like, remember, this is your life too. I'm like, okay, cool. And now that it's fleshed out, I've kind of become a fan of Supernatural. And as a fan of Supernatural, I would love to help it keep going with the Wayward Sisters and vice versa, and have them come back to our show.
There's a reason that that this is hinging around them, and because they were their favorite characters on the show. I know their favorite
guests
of ours, and when they get to come on the show, it's really fun for us. So in order to kind of keep that alive and keep those family ties alive, I would absolutely encourage those crossovers.
And this is a really neat family that we're all a part of, but that he and I specifically get to be a part of, because we're friends with these women outside of set. You know, we do conventions and we see them on weekends in different cities, and their loved ones and their friends, and so we know each other. It feels like they have been on the show for a lot longer than they have, even though we've done like 3 episodes with one and 1 episode, whatever it is. It's like, but I've seen you a dozen times in a dozen situations. So
it's this community that's been together for well over a decade now, and it's everybody's really excited to kind of be a part of this. And I think if we can we can certainly help them and get their foothold, then absolutely.
And I don't want to spend the rest of my life acting, but I would happily guest star on their show.